The Lumiere brothers, Auguste and Louis, were among the first filmmakers in history. They developed and patented a type of camera called a cinematograph. Their first footage that they recorded was reported to be on the 19th of March 1895 and shows workers leaving their factory in Lyon in France. In English, this short film was called Employees Leaving the Lumiere Factory. One of their most famous films was Arrival of a Train at a Station. This film has become perhaps best well known for the urban legend that when the film was first shown, the audience was so overwhelmed by the moving image of a life-size train coming directly at them that people screamed and ran to the back of the room. During the early life of cinema, silent films were the only option. Increasingly, these were accompanied by live musicians and bands. This period saw basic film language established with principles of continuity editing, lighting and mise-en-scène. One of the most famous examples of this is the 1903 film The Great Train Robbery, which was written, directed and produced by Edwin S. Porter. Whilst only 12 minutes long, it was, at the time, a milestone in filmmaking for employing cross-cutting, location shooting and camera movement. This period also saw the rise of the feature-length film, the first of which is regularly cited as being the Australian 70-minute long film The Story of the Kelly Gang in 1906. The 1920s saw the gradual emergence of a vertically integrated Hollywood film industry. This refers to the practice of large motion picture studios producing movies primarily in their own studio lots. They also had their own creative personnel under contracts and owned or controlled the distribution and exhibition of films, often in the cinemas they owned. This guaranteed additional sales of films through manipulative booking techniques by controlling what films could be seen and in what cinemas. By 1930, 5 major studios, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Loews/MGM, Fox, and RKO, and the 3 minor studios, Columbia, Universal, and United Artists, created what is now known as the Golden Age of Hollywood. The Jazz Singer, released in 1927, stars musical star Al Jolson. It was the first feature-length film to have a synchronized soundtrack, including synchronized speech and singing. Featuring 6 songs, it utilized sound in a way that was truly revolutionary, and for the first time heralded the birth of films with sound, which later became known as talkies. The film was a massive hit, and studios quickly clambered to release their own talkies, moving away from the silent era in order to please audiences who now craved sound and music in their films. The classic film Singing in the Rain charts the development of the talkies and how this new technology affected film production in Hollywood at the time. Becky Sharp is a 1935 American historical drama, directed by Ruben Mamoulian and starring Miriam Hopkins. The release of the film is especially significant as it heralded the use of colour for the first time in a feature-length film. It used the 3-strip Technicolor process for colouring, and in doing so opened the gates to many competing colour technologies. Mamoulian was also known for his innovative camera movements, and whilst he went on to direct many other famous films, his direction on Becky Sharp is most notable given that it introduced the world to colour feature films. By today's standards, it appears to be somewhat garish and unnaturally vivid, but its place in Hollywood is assured as a technological first. Hollywood antitrust case is perhaps best known as the Paramount case. This is not only a famous court case, but an incredibly important one. Whilst complicated, the most important aspect of the verdict of this case relates back to the vertical integration model that existed in Hollywood. The verdict of this case now prevented movie studios from owning their own cinemas and holding exclusivity rights on which cinemas could show their films. By stopping the studios from being able to do so, it led to the emergence of independent cinema chains and independent production companies. It would forever change the way that Hollywood movies were produced, distributed and exhibited, and as a result, led to the system of production companies and distributors that we now see today. In response to the rise of television ownership and the decline in cinema attendance, the 1950s saw film producers develop new ways of expanding and changing the viewing experience in cinemas. 3D screenings and widescreen presentations had a surge of popularity, and new technologies such as Cinerama emerged. This breakthrough technique used 3 cameras and 3 projectors to create an interlocking, semi-curved screen that was designed to make audiences feel that they were enveloped and at the centre of the widescreen action. An example of this is the epic Western film How the West Was Won. Other innovations at the time included 3D, which used cardboard glasses worn by viewers to make the action jump off of the screen. But audiences, in reality, found that their glasses were clunky and that the viewing was blurry. The films too were notable by their lack of overall quality, and few 3D films have stood the test of time in terms of audience and critical reception. The next major development was the continued advance in camera technology. By the 1950s, smaller cameras had become available to filmmakers, and the French New Wave filmmakers used this to their advantage to create immediate and intimate filmmaking. This documentary style, known as cinema verite, had a fly-on-the-wall aesthetic, as the size and portability of cameras allowed cameramen to film from perspectives never before accessible. Classic examples of these films include Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard, and The 400 Blows and Jules and Jim, both directed by Francois Truffaut. Steadicam technology was pioneered by cinematographer Garrett Brown and introduced in 1975. The Steadicam was an elaborate device that allowed handheld cameras to be kept still and the image to remain steady whilst also retaining fluid movement for the camera operator. It was first used in Bound for Glory in 1976, where it was used to help win awards for cinematography. The Steadicam, however, is perhaps best known for its use in the running and chase scenes in Rocky, especially in the run up the Art Museum's flight of stairs. The portable and fluid nature of the camera also allowed for it to be used in The Ring to capture fight scenes, with camera operator Garrett Brown able to get close to the action. The 1990s saw an explosion in the use of computer-generated imagery, otherwise known as CGI. Practical effects filmed in camera now took a back seat to post-production computer-generated imagery instead. This was pioneered by the company Industrial Light and Magic, otherwise known as ILM, who George Lucas helped to create as the special visual effects department on the Star Wars films in the late 1970s and 1980s. The company then expanded and has since gone on to produce special effects for nearly 300 films, including the entire Star Wars saga, the Indiana Jones series, the Harry Potter series, the Jurassic Park series, the Back to the Future trilogy, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, various Pirates of the Caribbean films, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Apart from flashy special effects, the company also works on more subtle effects, such as widening streets, digitally adding more extras to a shot, and inserting the film's actors into pre-existing footage in films such as Schindler's List and Forrest Gump. I really hope that you found this video interesting and educational. If you have, hit that like button below and please share around. To see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button and be sure to turn on notifications to find out when I post a new video. Finally, if you're a film teacher, student or just interested, there's a link in the description below to my online store which includes a code for 25% off all of my film resources. Many thanks for watching.